Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
It's not the greatest country in the world.
Finally, really did it. You maniac! I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore! You bring them death, and they will love him for it.
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Hello, friends and enemies, and welcome to another episode of Recovery from Politics Podcast. I am your host, Kyle Frame, and today is Saturday, March 1st, 2025. So, it has been a while, and I wanted to explain that first, because in the massive shitstorm that's been going on in the world these days, I didn't really know how to go about doing it. Do you want me to just, go day by day and list all the atrocities happening all the time? Is that something you're interested in? I mean, I'm not interested in that, really. I know that. I mean, there's always the big stuff, and then there's the little stuff, and there's the stuff the mainstream's not covering that perhaps they should. And I just didn't know how to approach this whole thing. Took me a while. Then on top of it, life changed. If you've been following for a while, I've mentioned before that I have been very lucky these last few years since COVID, when I was laid off, and then my wife was doing extremely well, and yeah, I didn't have to work. I've been a stay-at-home dad for most of this time, so that has been fun. But the gravy train's over. Layoffs once again hit, so my wife is now in that world where, maybe every couple of years you just get laid off. Yay! Now, luckily, she has found work. I have also found work. I actually start on Monday, and that means I'm not really going to have time to do this daily, even if I want to. I don't have my own private room where I can do this. I have a family. They live here. They, make noise, all that good stuff. And I will not have time in the day to really sit down and go through everything. So the first thing is there's going to be format change. I'm going to try to do this as a weekly podcast where I record on Saturday at some point and then, just cover the big issues of the week, and we'll see what happens. So there's that. Does that mean the show's going to be longer? Yeah, maybe. Maybe it'll go from being between 30 minutes an hour. Maybe it'll be a 2 or 3 hour thing. Who knows? But it will be a weekly thing going forward. I'm going to shoot for Saturdays. So, hopefully next week on the 8th, I'll have all new stuff to say. Secondly, because everything was going on, my anxiety was really kicking up, and I was having trouble sleeping. And I went to a routine doctor's visit. Nothing going on, just routine. And I went in there and I told him about it, and he's like, well, hey, you want to try this drug here, this anti-anxiety med? And I'm like, maybe, what's it do? And he's like, well, you know how you doom scroll, and it just pisses you off and makes you mad, and I'm like, yes, I absolutely know what that's like. And he's like, okay, well, what this does is you're still going to see it, you're still going to get mad, but it's going to be fleeting, and you're going to be like, okay, whatever. And you'll just keep scrolling. It doesn't stop you from doom scrolling. You're still going to do that. You're still going to post, but the rage, the everything else, it's not going to build up in you and dominate your thinking. And I was like, okay, as long as that helps me sleep, I think I can live with that. So I tried those out. And so here's the interesting part. I took them because I was having trouble sleeping. One of the side effects is you don't sleep. Sleeplessness is one of the side effects, and it doesn't go away. It's not like, oh, you just have this for the first few weeks you're on it, and then your body adjusts, and then you have no trouble. No, you just don't sleep. So I have been exhausted, but I'm okay with it for the last 2 months, and that has been not fantastic. The other thing is, I lost my passion. I didn't have the juice. I didn't have oh my god, I have to say this thing right now and get it off my chest because this is driving me crazy. All of it was gone. I was like, meh. I mean, I was still happy. I mean, it worked out at home. I'm sure my kids appreciated it because it was they do dumb things because they're kids, and that's what kids do, right? They learn, and they do dumb things, and it annoys their parents, and everyone knows this. And while I was on the drug, I'm sure it was great for them. I felt better about it too, because I never flew off the handle. It's kid does something dumb. okay, whatever, let's move on. That was me. There was no "Rah!" And it's not like I'm a bad parent who like beats my kids or anything, but I allow that stuff to get me like worked up. And then I got to do something or say something, and that was gone. So home, good. Professionally or creatively or anything like that, it's like, not so good. These drugs suck. So I'm off them for a few days, whatever. And just today, I was like, yes, I should do a podcast. I'll change the format, go weekly. But I wasn't really into it until like 2 hours ago. I'm reading the news and I'm like, I got my mojo back, and I started writing, and I got this whole like bullet point thing right here. You can't see that's going to be fantastic. But I did have some things that I wanted to talk about. So, in the grand scheme of things, that's the intro. Kyle's off drugs, changing format, going to something new, get the fire back, all good, all great. But yeah, one thing that's been very depressing and disappointing has been the Democratic Party these days. And I'm not the first to bring this up, and I won't go on too long with it. That's not the main thing, but I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't at least bring up that they're not doing anything right now. There's no major thing. And for me, everyone's like, well, what the hell do they do? And AOC's even asking people, what do you do? And legal people are talking about the steps they could take in the Senate to grind everything down to a halt, and like they could stop with this unanimous consent bullshit. Just never allow it. Always ask for a quorum and be like, we want votes. We want to make sure all these people are here, and we're going to just do everything. Does it stop the Republicans? No, but it slows everything down. It grinds it to a halt, or at least very, very slowly. And I was like, yeah, that's great. Why the fuck weren't they doing that before? And we keep finding out that Hakeem Jeffries has been on book tour this whole fucking time because, he has no interest in fighting this. And Chuck Schumer's strategy has been, we're going to let Trump overreach and then just win. And it's like, no, dipshits. Have you not been paying attention? Like, for fuck's sake, 2016 and 2024, you guys thought, oh, this is easy. Trump's an idiot. Trump's a dictator. Trump hates democracy. Like, this is a slam dunk. So neither Hillary nor Kamala brought up any kind of policies or, like, singular message other than Trump bad. Like, no shit. We all know Trump bad. You gotta give us something to vote for. Like, this is why we liked Bernie. Bernie gave us something to vote for. He was like, yes, he energized us and was like, we can change things. Even Obama, we didn't know he was going to be vanilla once he got in, but when he was running, it was like, yes, and he had that message, hope, change, yes, we can, and we all got on board, and all of us projected our hopes and dreams onto this guy. And whether or not he delivered, I have a lot of complaints about that, but we can talk about that another time. But the point is, he gave us something to vote for. Remember, McCain wasn't the worst idea in the world. McCain, I think, would have been a perfectly okay president. He wouldn't have wrecked everything. I mean, he's not a sledgehammer guy. Even Mitt Romney, it would have been fine. I mean, yes, the Supreme Court would have ended up with some more assholes on it, but I mean, would they have allowed Kavanaugh to go through? Would they have rammed through Amy Coney Barrett with 2 weeks before the election under McCain or Romney? Probably not. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I mean, you could go ahead and say, yeah, sure, because neither of those guys were flamethrowers. They weren't the type of people trying to throw bombs and blow shit up. They were old school, sure, let's work. I mean, those are the types of Republicans where if the Democrats looked at them and were like, acting today, like, we're here to find bipartisan things that we can agree with. With McCain or Romney? Sure. I wouldn't have been mad at Democrats for saying that with them. That makes sense. It's like, yeah, I don't think McCain or Romney were going to destroy the fucking country. Yeah, I could have lived with it. But now we have Trump, and you have these idiots in Congress who are doing nothing. There are a few. Crockett is really standing out right now. She is amazing. Maxwell Frost is also doing a good idea. A lot of people are high on Chris Murphy. I'm not sold on him based on his previous work in the Senate. I think he's just saying what he thinks we all want to hear right now. I don't know. I look at him and think empty suit, but I'm willing to be wrong. And of course, AOC is, of course, doing that, which brings me to like, what do I wish they were doing right now? And the thing is, the right is very successful right now, and this was something that one of their people were talking about. The guy who does the war, Steve Bannon, was talking about, we want to flood the zone with bullshit so that way nobody can respond to it. And quite frankly, I think we need to find a way to respond to it, and I think I have a way. The three best communicators in the Democratic Party, if you ask me, who have a national standing, because I feel like Crockett's just breaking out, same with Frost, and Chris Murphy, but AOC, everyone knows AOC. So I would say AOC, I would say Pete Buttigieg, and I would say Barack Obama, right? All three of them need to do daily press conferences on the steps of fucking Congress. All three of them. They do the first one, all three together, with like two of them flanking whoever's out front, and they go ahead and they say, this is the shit that's going on in the world, bam, 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 and they explain things too, and they're like, this is what this agency that Doge is destroying does, and this is what this agency does, and this is why we can't allow this to happen, and oh my god, there's a 19-year-old named Big Balls who's running everything, like he's got your social security number, holy fuck, right? And they do that daily. They do their own little mini White House press briefing for themselves, for the Democratic Party. And they rotate, so it's not the same one every day, because I think, we'd get bored with that, right? But you got Buttigieg, who's fantastic at talking, especially when it comes to reaching across that divide with Republicans. Like, there's a reason he is so successful, is because he can go on Fox News and hold his own. Like, he doesn't get railroaded by them. AOC, obviously, and Barack Obama, yes, he needs to get off his ass. Quit with this former presidents don't say shit bullshit. Like, fuck you. This man is destroying everything you ever even remotely believed in. Your children may get safety and be able to fly to another fucking country and run, but the rest of us don't. And if you have any loyalty or legacy here in the United States that you want to defend, now's the time to fucking do it. So yes, I want Barack Obama, AOC, and Buttigieg out on those steps daily, all 7 days. Not Monday through Friday, 7 fucking days, whether Congress is in session or not. One of them holds court. And just does that every day at the same time, prime time, make it 6 p.m. Eastern time, every day, like clockwork. You're on there. You invite all the press that the White House won't let in. You make sure they get there and they ask all their fucking questions. And you just fucking trash Trump all day long. That's step one, right? Like, that's the number one thing they need to do, is be out front. They can't. Like, I don't get this idea of leading from behind. We need to see where the people are. That is Clintonian bullshit that nobody likes. No one likes a politician who designs everything they say or do based off of randos from the street getting asked questions by pollsters. That is not the way to win. Nobody wants that. It worked once with Clinton. It hasn't really worked since. I'm sorry. It just hasn't. Nobody likes clean politicians like that. Go out there and be authentic. Speak with intelligence. Know what's going on. These are all intelligent people. They all know what U.S. aid is and can explain it and why it's good and why, what they're doing isn't what they say they are. And they can speak to those concerns with some of us who do have legitimate, like, why the fuck does the government spend $6 trillion a year and on fucking what? Like, some of it makes sense. Yeah, $900 billion goes to the fucking Pentagon and nobody gets mad at that when they don't produce or make a profit. But for some reason, the post office has to turn a profit. Fuck you, I'm sorry. There are certain things that aren't supposed to make money. And also, the post office was totally financially solvent until the Republicans poison-pilled it. But that's what these guys could get out front and talk about. They could mention all this stuff. They could say all this stuff, and they could attack him and keep him off balance, right? Right now, Trump's under no attack. Have you noticed that? Like, I'll tell you what, the only people he's picking fights with are other world leaders. He's not picking a fight with Schumer. He's not even picking a fight with AOC. He's not picking a fight with any Democrats. He feels complete and total carte blanche to just ignore them. That's how you know he feels powerful. He's not striking back at them, right? Like, there's this movie, The Watchmen, And the whole time there's this blue guy, Dr. Manhattan, and he's walking around naked the whole time. The entire movie, the guy's naked. And somebody's like, I don't get it. Why the hell would he do that? And I'm like, you have to understand, he's a god compared to all these other people. Do you care if you step out of the shower and there's some ants on the floor and they see you naked? No, you wouldn't. And that's how he sees them. So for me, this whole thing of like, who is Trump picking a fight with? He's picking a fight with Zelensky. He's picking a fight with the UK. He's picking a fight with Germany. He's not picking a fight with any Democrat worth shit right now. He defeated Obama in a way. He defeated Hillary. He defeated Biden. He's got no one else to worry about. Okay? At this point in 2017, he was already trying to dig up dirt on Biden because he knew Biden was coming for him. But now, that's in the past. Harris isn't coming for him. He doesn't even know who the hell's running against him. Gavin Newsom is the closest, but I don't even think it's because Gavin Newsom is a particularly strong thorn in his side. He's going after Gavin just because Gavin's in charge of a big fucking state that Trump can't win. So, yeah, we need to get out there and divert this guy's attention and also let him know, no, he doesn't have complete control. He's acting like an authoritarian does. He already thinks he's achieved it. Single party rule right now. That's what he's got. Why would he concern himself with the Democratic Party? As some people have mentioned, the Republicans are doing unpopular thing after unpopular thing after unpopular thing, almost as if they're not worried about the midterms and they're not worried about 2028 at all. Why? Why aren't they worried about elections? I've never seen a presidency or a party act this way where they're not, man, we gotta fucking figure out how to win in 2 years. We can't keep doing this. Like, seriously, any other normal political party, if their leader was acting as batshit as the Orange God King, they would be looking around like, dude, like, fuck, you've got 4 years, I've got 2. And I can't support what you're doing because I have to go win re-election here. But the Republicans aren't doing that. The Republicans are like, hell yeah, let's do everything Trump wants. And that is very concerning because that means they're either going to cancel elections or, cheat. I'm just waiting for them to say Doge is taking control of the elections federally. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for Musk to be like, oh, don't worry, SpaceX is going to build a new electronic voting machine that's totally unhackable and safe. Like, I'm just waiting for that. And they'll just take over the federal elections, and then next time it's going to be like, holy shit, the Republicans who poll in the toilet suddenly got 80% of the vote, and then we're fucked. That's it. That's ball game right there. That's going to be it. And I'm not seeing anything that says it's not going to happen, and that's a problem. But anyway, I didn't want to focus on this too much. I really did want to get to this thing because yesterday was a fucking bombshell. A new world order has been announced. Yesterday was a signal to the world that the United States has drastically shifted its foreign policy away from the entirety of the 20th century model to a new pro-dictatorship, pro-authoritarian one. Even if, in 2028, Democrats were to retake the White House and get us back on track, the signal to the rest of the world is that world peace is entirely dependent on 20,000 or so voters across 5 to 6 states every 4 years. And that's assuming midterms are favorable. Remember, Obama won re-election in 2012, but during the midterm year of 2014, he felt hamstrung to do anything about Crimea being annexed from Ukraine. We can blame Obama for not doing the right thing at the time, but blame must also be placed firmly at the feet of Congress. MAGA would have attacked him no matter what decision he made, so I find it difficult to blame them. Like, they were in the opposition. What are you going to do? But Democrats, with Pelosi and Schumer, behind the scenes advocated leaving Ukraine to rot so they could maybe get some political gains in the midterms. Everyone involved put politics over the right thing to do in 2014. That directly led to this moment. Prior to then, when the nation had a black man as a president and a hostile and easily infiltrated opposition party, for the first time, America allowed an authoritarian strongman to do whatever he wanted in Eastern Europe because of political fear. Not military fear, purely political. Putin noticed and began his plan to infiltrate the Republican Party with his own people, ideologically aligned with his desires. The Orange God King of America was a happy accident, the likes of which Putin couldn't have possibly believed how lucky he was. So our foreign policy has now become political. One party supports the 20th century status quo. The other is in favor of a total realignment, which means if you're a European leader, you cannot depend on the United States. You could shake off 2016 Trump as an aberration, but he's now won 2 presidencies, and the Democrats still don't know what to do about it. As for Europe, they're waking up. Quote, "We cannot leave the security of Europe in the hands of voters in Wisconsin every 4 years." End quote. That is the French minister for the EU. And it was amazing the absolute stupidity on display. Fluffer-in-Chief J.D. Vance didn't know why Germany didn't have a large standing army. I suppose he also wonders why Japan doesn't have a strong military either. Quick rehash if for some reason you're unaware. After 2 world wars, basically started by Germany and Europe, the Allied powers decided to, in order to break the cycle, the paradigm had to change. So the United States guaranteed the safety and security of Europe, placing massive bases all over it, and Japan. This was part of the containment strategy against a very aggressive Soviet Union, but also an acknowledgement that Germany and others can't start another world war if they don't have a strong military. We never wanted them to spend a lot on their military budget. Germany had proven in back-to-back generations that them having a large and powerful military was not a good thing. Then, to reinforce the situation against the Soviet Union, which had just created the Iron Curtain along Eastern Europe, the United States and its allies created NATO. This was all done with the idea of containment, mutually assured destruction, and deterrence. The Soviet Union of the time had a very different philosophy than Russia today, or even China. They actively sought the destruction of capitalism because they had an unhealthy obsession that capitalism was going to actively come after them. And now they weren't totally wrong about that. They were wrong about how seriously we were coming. China, meanwhile, doesn't seem to want to spread communism or socialism anywhere. It shares borders with communist countries and seems to hate every single one of them. Today, Vietnam has a better relationship with the United States than with China. And truth be told, if North Korea collapsed into a failed state of some kind, China would likely breathe a sigh of relief, since North Korea is a thorn in their side as much as ours. China's only expansionist goals involve Taiwan at the moment. Historically, they're not wrong to be miffed about it. It exists outside their sphere, and they're propped up, Taiwan's propped up by us. However, at this point in time, Taiwan is a sovereign nation, and China should accept it and try to normalize relations with it. I don't think they will. Xi has serious issues with China's borders, similar to Putin trying to recapture the entirety of the old Soviet Union. Something weird about authoritarians. Mussolini wanted to recapture the old Roman Empire. Germany wanted to expand. Japan wanted some mythical empire. Now Putin, Xi, and Trump, if you take his Greenland, Canada, and Panama threat seriously. But now we're in a different time, run by men who don't know or don't understand history. They see NATO as an old relic of a bygone era. Meanwhile, I fear the United States' coddling of authoritarian despots when they overthrew their democratically elected socialist presidents has allowed these same idiots to look at Putin and not see a lesser, but an equal on the world stage. Remember in 2016 Trump's line of reasoning with Putin, "Well, you think we're innocent?" This was someone who had a very basic headline understanding of the CIA in the Cold War days, but no depth of knowledge past it. I'm not defending the CIA. I find the idea of forcefully removing a democratically elected leader because you disagree with their political views very distasteful. We shouldn't have done it. A lot of what has been happening the last 40 years has been direct results of our many coups around the world. Chickens coming home to roost. Even the immigration crisis the white supremacy likes to crow about is a direct result of the U.S. making their native countries uninhabitable. Environmentally, politically, economically, and criminally. It is sickening to think we made their homes like this, then we have the fucking audacity to say we're too good and pure to take them in here. It's the fucking least we can do considering what we have done. But the New World Order's here. The Orange God King likes to talk tough on China, but I don't know how much he really cares about them. Elon Musk has dealings there. So does the daughter of the Orange God King. Most of his merchandise is made there. At the end of the day, the Orange God King of America has aligned himself with authoritarian dictator Putin of Russia, authoritarian president of Hungary Viktor Orban, and authoritarian dictator Kim Jong-un of North Korea. And he has actively spurned our democratically elected traditional allies, and his own party is helping him do it. They're all supporting him. Even if the Orange God King of America goes quietly into the night at the end of his term, what European leader would trust any of MAGA right now? Every single one of them is on the record saying Zelensky is a dictator and anti-peace, while suggesting Putin is the insulted party in all of this. Not a single MAGA member came out against what the Orange God King of America did yesterday. Not one. And for that, I can't support any of MAGA's voters either. No governor of a red state came out against it. Not a single state house run by MAGA suggested a resolution condemning yesterday. No mayor, no city council, no local comptroller. All of MAGA is complicit, even their voters. Remember that when this is all over and they try and say, "I didn't know," at the absolute most generous I can be is that they were willfully ignorant. We all have smartphones in our pockets. At any point prior to the election, they could have searched up terms like tariffs or Project 2025 or half a dozen other things and discovered the truth. They chose not to do this. You can't claim you didn't know. You can't say you were just following orders. I will not forgive a single MAGA voter for their crimes against this country. I don't care if you voted Harris atop the ticket, but went MAGA all the way down the rest. We all know there is no daylight between them and the Orange God King of America. A vote for one is a vote for all of them to destroy this country. Willfully ignorant. In my opinion, a criminal act against their own neighbors. Fuck every last one of them. Twice. All right, that's what I got for today. We're looking to expand here later. I have some friends that I'm sure would love to do interviews. I've never done an interview before. That could be fun. Anyway, if you've got any questions, comments, gripes, concerns, complaints, or generally just don't want to, tell me to fuck off, go ahead. The email is recoveryfrompolitics@gmail.com. You can find me on Blue Sky and pretty much anywhere else. And, tell me to fuck off. I don't care. In the meantime, you guys go ahead. Get vaccinated, please, for the love of all that's holy. There's measles, and it is nothing to fuck with. Natural immunity doesn't fucking... You don't want it. You don't want any of them. None of them. Get the vaccine. It's way better. Yeah. Yeah, be safe. Try to have fun out there, please, and go touch grass.
Vive la resistance!